And the man who's sitting on the front row is Pete Halsmer. But, Pete, you really can't feel all that confident because the top 3 cars are within 3/100ths of a second.
Yeah, that's what I keep getting reminded. Yeah, it's really tight. It's, it's a very competitive series, and we're real pleased to have the Mazda on the front row on the pole. But it's going to be an hour and a half of battle out there, and we'll just have to see where it works out to. A lot of good competitive cars there.
Tremendous amount of space now to pass, and you being up front, you just want to try and get out there and hide if you can?
Well, I wouldn't use tremendous. I would use maybe a little more space than there was before. Especially, don't tell those guys there's a tremendous amount of space to pass.
Good luck. We'll see you out there.
Appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Marty. We'll find out in a moment just how much passing room there is on this 2.25-mile layout. Jack, let's take a closer look.
Turn 1 is a high-speed left-hander leading down into the new section of the circuit where they've eliminated a right-left-hander, making the old keyhole turn a much faster turn onto the longest straightaway on the circuit. At the end of that straightaway, we go into a series of right and left-handers, where, as Pete said, it's a very difficult place to pass. We go into then a right-hander that crests over the top of a hill, difficult turn, leading to a straightaway down and uphill that takes us into the carousel back to the front straightaway.
On that front straightaway, the cars will take the checkered flag. The green flag, as you might have noticed, comes on the very, very fast backstretch. We'll be back to take a look at the starting lineup and turn them loose here at Mid-Ohio after this.
Have you learned yet that the right tool can make all the difference? Do you like a good deal? Well, we're closing out the entire inventory of Ryobi's professional gasoline-powered tools. A 1/2-inch hammer drill, a reciprocating saw, and a rotary hammer, all at prices below actual dealer's cost. Lightweight and easy to start, Ryobi's hammer drill is 2 tools in 1. And because it's gas-powered, it goes anywhere. With the flip of a switch, the standard drill becomes a hammer drill with up to 28,000 blows per minute. When you handle the gas-powered reciprocating saw, you enjoy pure power with up to 2,000 strokes a minute. This extraordinary saw cuts through virtually any material, even the roof of a car. The rotary hammer, like all Ryobi gas-powered tools, is powerful and loaded with quality features like 2-speed control and a safety clutch. With no cords, these tools go anywhere, for any job.
This is great. It's a lot of tool. It's powerful, yet easy to control. And the quality is top-notch. So call now.
Ryobi gas-powered tools are equipped with 16cc 2-cycle engines, all-position carburetors, solid-state electronic ignitions, die-cast aluminum cylinders, and weigh less than 12 pounds. Not available in any store. This offer is from Overstock Brokers, specialist in inventory closeouts. Today, these high-quality tools are priced to go at only $291 each. Call now. Inventories are small, and when they're gone forever. To order, call the free 800 number on your screen. Be sure to ask about special pricing when you want all 3. At this low price, out they go.
Your new Ryobi gasoline-powered tool is completely backed by our no-risk 30-day money-back guarantee. So place your order now. Thank you.
Welcome back to the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course in Lexington, Ohio. Bob Varsha, Jack Baldwin, Marty Reed with you for what should be a spectacular sedan race. 39 cars are on the 2.25-mile racetrack. Now let's take a look at the way they'll line up for today's event. On the pole, Pete Halsmer in his Mazda RX-7 next to Formula One stars Olivier Griard and Jean-Pierre Jabouille in that exotic Ferrari. On row 2, Dorsey Schrader, winner earlier this year in his Mercury Cougar against Steve Millen in the twin-turbo Nissan. Jeremy Dale, Millen's teammate, will be on row 3 next to the young sensation of the series, Robbie Gordon, Schrader's teammate for Mercury. Elliott Forbes Robinson will have a Mazda on row 4 next to Jim Stevens in a big 6-liter Mercury. Chet Vincennes will have his Porsche 944 Turbo next to our GTU class leader in a Nissan, David Loring. On row number 6 will be Bob Leitzinger, the defending GTU champion, and Loring's teammate next to the Mazda of Lance Stewart. On row 7, Don Knowles in a Dodge next to Amos Johnson, Mr. Mazda, running in the GTU division today in an MX-6. Row 8 will be Stu Hayner in one of the Dodges next to the Mazda of Al Bacon. Row 9 will be John Finger, who won a race earlier this year in a Mazda RX-7 next to Kenny Irwin Jr., pole sitter in the All-American Challenge class. As you take a look through the rest of the field, we should point out there are 3 classes running simultaneously today here at Mid-Ohio. The GTU cars capable of 200 miles an hour on the long straights of places like Daytona, the nimble GTU cars with engines of 3 liters and under as opposed to the 3 liters and over category of GTO, and the All-American Challenge cars, slightly lighter, slightly less powerful than the GTO and GTU cars, running for separate prize money. A full 20 rows, well, make that a full 19 rows, plus 1 starter in the final row, makes for a total of 39 cars and a great speed differential between them. I mentioned the GTO cars capable of speeds touching 200 miles an hour on some racetracks. The GTU cars will run about 150 to 160 miles an hour on an equal surface, and the All-American Challenge cars slightly slower than that. So the GTO machines are going to be catching these All-American Challenge cars in a big rush, Jack. That's really going to call for these drivers to keep an eye on their mirrors.
Yeah, one of the big problems in a situation like this when you have multiple classes is the traffic situation and being able to negotiate the back markers. It's the responsibility of the leaders to do that and do that well.
Now you see these concrete patches at the corners as we take a look at the race analysis. 39 cars, 11 of the Big O cars, 16 GTU, 12 All-American Challenge. Hans Stuck won here a year ago, as did Amos Johnson and Clay Young. Johnson and Young are in today's field. Those concrete patches I mentioned are meant to hold the cars on the corners. We'll talk about them a little bit later. Right now, the cars are on the backstretch where the green flag waves and we're racing. Pete Halsmer on the left. Behind him, Dorsey Schrader in the number 6 Cougar, and the Ferrari losing ground right at the start, Jack.
Boy, I'm really surprised about this start, but look at that Ferrari pull up there like that. It has got tremendous power. He might pull this off.
Griard trying Halsmer on the outside, but it's not going to work. You see the puff of smoke from the number 1 Mazda as Halsmer shifts.
Boy, I'll tell you, look at that Ferrari. When it comes up on boost, it really takes off. You know, it's the heavier car, so it's showing it's got some real power when it comes up.
Pete Halsmer said before the race he hopes to do well here. They don't have the top speed of some of the other cars, like the number 40 twin-turbo Ferrari there in your picture. So on the twisty and rolling Mid-Ohio circuit, he's really going to have to get that Mazda out front early. There you see the field bunched up behind. The 2 twin-turbo Nissans right there. Steve Millen and his partner Jeremy Dale down in the carousel. And the field bunches up behind that Ferrari. He could be holding up the parade a little bit here, Jack.
It appears to me that that's what's going on. The Mazda's, the lighter Mazda's just moving along. He's got a clear track, but behind him the Ferrari, and Dorsey's looking for a place to get him. The Ferrari's really fast on the straightaway, making it hard to pass, but in the turns it's a little bit sluggish because it's a little heavy. I'll tell you what, though, his tires are going to pay for this, and after a couple of laps you're going to see that Ferrari slow down, I would suspect.
The car is about 200 pounds heavy, up and above its specified weight. And the 2 French... Oh, we got a problem in the back. That's young Robbie Gordon going off and into the sand pits down there in the keyhole. There you see the number 9 car buried. Now he's really got a problem. He is nose down in that sand pit.
Well, he's not going to back it up, I'll tell you that right now.
He'll go forward.
Boy, that is surprising. Those gravel pits are designed to bury a car. And at some other circuits, Road America, for one, if you go into a gravel pit, the car sinks and you're stuck and you don't move.
So Robbie Gordon, the man who made his name in off-road racing, he does know sand and he gets out of it, but he's lost a lot of positions. Back up front, Pete Halsmer and the white number 1 Mazda pulling up, and the Ferrari is really holding up traffic now. Dorsey Schrader, Steve Millen, Jeremy Dale, all right there and looking for a way past.
See, right now Dorsey is getting a little bit frantic. That Mazda's starting to get out, and he's trying to be careful on the Ferrari. But the Ferrari's tires are coming up to temperature, so he's at maximum grip, and now he's going to start falling off a little bit because those tires are going to get in. They're going to get hot. The car's heavy. It's loaded with fuel, and it's going to make it a little easier for Dorsey to slide by. I would say when Dorsey gets by, so the rest of them will too.
There's a good look at the defending GTO champion. He won it driving for the same team that Dorsey Schrader is with now, Pete Halsmer from Anaheim, California. There is the battle for second, and Schrader goes to the inside as the Ferrari bobbles down into 1. And so Olivier Griard, the young Ocella Formula 1 star, gives up the position to Dorsey Schrader, the defending SCCA Trans Am champion.
That Ferrari had to brake a little bit early.
And now Steve Millen goes underneath. So Griard definitely having his problems. He does not know this racetrack very well. He is from France, never raced at Mid-Ohio. And Steve Millen takes away 3rd place, demoting the Ferrari to 4th.
Because of his weight, he's going to have to settle into a pace that the car will accept if he's going to make the end of this race. He can't go out there and just boil his tires. So that's probably what he's doing right now. He's settling into a pace that his car can run.
Cougar twitches a little bit, Jack, under Dorsey's foot, and he slides it through that overhill turn.
I'll tell you, Dorsey right now is going after Pete Halsmer. That's his job. He's going to get him.
And we got a problem there for Jeremy Dale in the number 76 twin-turbo Nissan. He has spun it on the other side of that hill. Boy, he's going to have some ground to make up now. Meanwhile, up on the point, Pete Halsmer leads the second-place car of Dorsey Schrader. Here comes Steve Millen, the transplanted New Zealander. Made his name in rally cars a few years ago. Let's get to the pits quickly. We've got action there.
Chet Vincennes has brought in his Porsche as they are working feverishly on the back end. They have got a separate battery out here. He may have an electrical problem. This is going to be the last race for this car, and it has started off on a dismal note.
Well, that's a tough break for Chet Vincennes out of California. He started ninth, and he has worked long and hard to make that Porsche competitive in the GTO class, but it's just not working out for him.
You know, Chet is one of the nicest guys in the sport, a real gentleman, has been running for a long time, and actually I think one of the best Porsche drivers around. It's a shame when something like happens to Chet because he runs a limited schedule and he tries really hard. It's disappointing for him.
Meanwhile, up on the point, you can see the number 6 Whistler Cougar is beginning to close in now on that Mazda. Pete Halsmer being chased down by Dorsey Schrader. Schrader, the points leader, coming in. Halsmer desperately wants a victory here today, and he actually needs for Schrader to finish a few positions back if he's going to close the points gap coming into this race. There you see Vincennes. He's underway again, but that does not look healthy at all. I think maybe he's going to pull it behind the wall. Yes, he does. Tough break.
I think the picture that you can see from Chet was the picture of disappointment that he's probably feeling right now.
No, we didn't talk to him afterwards, but it sure looks like it. Pete Halsmer is your leader here at Mid-Ohio, and we'll be back in a moment.
Do you need a car? Listen, each year government agencies auction, sell, and liquidate thousands of cars and trucks, and the bidding starts as low as $30. Government vehicles, luxury cars taken from drug dealers, criminals, and thousands more seized, repossessed, sold through bankruptcy proceedings. Now find out how you can grab the car you want at government liquidation and bankruptcy prices. Bid as low as $30 for Porsches, Mercedes, Ferraris, Corvettes, family cars, and trucks. Find out how to get the car you want now. Call 1-900-HOT-AUTO. That's 1-900-468-2886. Just $2 a minute.
Time of your life, all the greats will be there. It's stadium hot dogs, it's the dream we all share. It's a good time. Sports Channel Ohio, home of your home team, Cleveland Indians. So drop what you're doing, fun, and leave your cares behind. It's a major league good time.
Back at Mid-Ohio for the IMSA GTO GTU American Challenge Sedan Awards. Your leader in the white car at the lower right corner of your screen is Pete Halsmer. This is the second place car of Dorsey Schrader. And they just went straight by what used to be a corner on this racetrack. The old keyhole has been rounded out, and they go blistering on to the backside. We mentioned that this course has been repaved. It had a reputation of being hard on tires, and we asked our leader, Pete Halsmer, before the race if it is still very tough on the rubber.
This is a real handling track, and that makes it tough on tires usually. A lot of cornering, one right after the other for a lot of corners that way. No breathers for the tires. But being as cool as it is this morning, I think it's probably not going to be so much of a problem. So I think you're going to see some pretty hard running for the whole race.
Hard running indeed is what we've had thus far. And Jack, despite the repaving, there is also a weight factor involved in these cars.
Oh yes, the Mazda is a much lighter car, so on a circuit like this where you have a lot of turns and a lot of flowing turns, it's to the Mazda's advantage. It's a 4-rotor engine that makes about 600 horsepower, but it gives away something in the torque area. So not having to pull off of, say, a 90-degree turn and, yank the car off of a corner is to the advantage of the Mazda. So it can run a softer compound tire, and the tire will live longer, have grip longer. And so it really is a more advantageous package for this situation.
How much weight are we talking about difference between the Mazda and the pursuing Cougar?
I think there's 300 or 400 pounds, which is a lot of weight.
You see those concrete patches at the corner, they're there simply because these cars will actually rip up the asphalt, so they need concrete at those corners to give them traction. Here's the battle for our GTU lead. Number 96, David Loring from Chuckaroo, New Hampshire, coming under fire here from the 00 Dodge. That is Don Knowles. This is for the lead in GTU.
Boy, that's a great race going on right there.
And Loring pulls it out.
David Loring's an old friend. He raced with me back in the early 70s in Formula Ford. In fact, he was the Canadian champion in the early 70s in Formula Fords and went over and raced in Europe.
And Knowles goes underneath once again, but Loring giving him no room at all. And this is an example of the kind of door-to-door racing you can have at Mid-Ohio now, with the track widened out 40 feet minimum. David Loring in the blue Nissan, the pole sitter in the GTU class. Don Knowles in that black and yellow 00 Dodge. Great dice.
I tell you, I think this is kind of this is the type of competition that's synonymous in GTU division. I mean, you get into races like this that are door-to-door and really, well-fought races. The cars are very equal. They're light. They're fun to drive, and they make for a good racing.
That was the battle going out the bottom of your picture. We pick it up again, and you ought to know, Jack.
Oh yeah,
two-time champion in this class.
Absolutely. I mean, this is standard GTU material right here. See, your Dodge is a little bit lighter, so it's gonna in the turns there. He's gonna be able to get up underneath the heavier Nissan, where the Nissan's got the power on the straightaway.
And the carousel, the 00 Dodge of Don Knowles takes over the lead in the GTU class.
I had a chance to drive one of those Dodges a couple of times last year, and I'll tell you, they are a lot of fun to drive because they're so light and just nimble, and the brakes are phenomenal how deep you can go into a corner.
This is a team that was started by Cal Choquette down in Trussville, Alabama. He recently sold the team, in fact, at the beginning of this season, so they're all new drivers in the car this year. Don Knowles works for the Department of the Interior when he's not race driving. And here's an example of the All-American Challenge class. This is Clay Young from Georgia, driving in his bright orange Chevy Beretta. He was the pole sitter in class today, and he has led from the green flag.
You know, Clay is one of my old buddies from Georgia here, and he's been running American Challenge for years and does a great job at it. He also runs ARCA, stock car circuit, and is pretty competitive there too.
This is a battle in GTO now. This is for third place. You see Steve Millen under fire now from the Ferrari. The Ferrari having trouble on full tanks at the beginning of the race, and Olivier Griard lost a couple of positions. Right now, he has lightened that fuel load, and the Ferrari responding really well. We mentioned that he's about 200 pounds overweight because of the nature of this car. This is not a purpose-built race car. This is a Ferrari F40 street car that's been modified for racing, as opposed to the Nissan directly ahead from the wheels up, tube frame, twin-turbo V6 built for racing. Good battle.
I tell you, that Ferrari is really impressive. It's much like the original Audis that came, the four-wheel drive Audis that were built on a production basis, with the original floor pan and stuff like that.
Good look there at Steve Millen, a rallier from New Zealand who's become quite a favorite here in sedan racing in the United States, and this is a good fight. Olivier Griard of France, who has never been here before, driving a strange car and a very powerful one, maybe 700, 750 horsepower in that twin-turbo Ferrari. That's a V8 car. The number 40, red, as of course all Ferraris are, battling the V6 twin-turbo. Now we're back in the GTU battle. Here comes Don Knowles.
This was a great opportunity for Don to get this Dodge ride. You know, he's been driving for years in Firehawk and stock street cars and has done a great job there.
Coming up behind him, this is the GTO battle for the lead. About to lap the GTU leader, number 1 in white in the Mazda is Pete Halsmer. Right behind him is Dorsey Schrader, and they're about to catch up with Knowles. Here they come down the backstretch. Watch this speed differential.
Oh yeah, and they'll both get by here easily. Don's careful to let him by. He doesn't want to get involved with that battle at all. I tell you, Dorsey's all over him like a cheap suit.
Dorsey Schrader from St. Louis, Missouri, home of a lot of great racers, including NASCAR's Rusty Wallace and Kenny Schrader.
Dorsey is a fine individual and I think one of the finest drivers I've ever had a chance to run against. He really is a talented individual.
Keep in mind, these cars will have to make a pit stop during the course of this race for fuel and probably tires.
Dorsey's doing a good job with that car. You know, that car makes about 750-ish horsepower, and like we said, it is heavier. The car makes good downforce. Probably has to run a little harder compound tires, so it's a little tougher for him in the corners. But they've spent a lot of time making that car work. Lee White and Jack Roush and the team have got that car working just beautifully.
The white car is a 4-rotor Mazda. They run with that Wankel rotary engine. Behind them, a 4-cylinder inline turbocharged Lincoln Mercury machine. Now here comes Don Knowles. If I have his title right, Don, I believe, is a Deputy Undersecretary of the Interior working in Washington, D.C. And we have a pass here. This is for third place in GTO. This is Olivier Griard of France and the number 40 Ferrari going underneath Steve Millen in the Nissan.
I'm really surprised to see that. I suspect that possibly there's a little problem with the Nissan. I just don't see if the Nissan was doing what it should be doing. I don't think that the Ferrari should have got by him.
Big burst of flame from the Ferrari as we take another look. This is at the end of that long back straight, which, as you can see, isn't really straight. It's basically a long right-hand sweeper, and under braking, the Ferrari went through.
Those Nissans are extremely well prepared. The crew chief of that team is Clayton Cunningham, the man that I drove for when I won both of my championships, and then Tommy Kendall took over and won 3 more under Clayton. So Clayton Cunningham is definitely one of the best, and it was a privilege to drive for the man.
On the point, Pete Halsmer. It is Mazda opening up a gap now over that Lincoln Mercury Cougar of Dorsey Schrader. Make it Mazda, Cougar, Ferrari, Nissan, and Mazda. We'll be right back.
Squeak and streak, streak and squeak, while you play hide and seek. Can't anyone make a decent windshield wiper? Introducing Triple Edge. It's more than decent, it's incredible. Triple Edge is the world's first high-tech windshield wiper. It clears, it cleans, it wipes dry, all in a single pass. But that's not all. Unlike ordinary wipers, Triple Edge wipers are not made of rubber. They won't tear, dry rot, or freeze to your windshield. Triple Edge is a patented design made from DuPont Nordell, the same space-age material used in 50,000-mile radial tires. It's so strong, we guarantee these wipers for as long as you own your car. If they ever fail for any reason, we'll replace them. Free. Why put up with this when you can have this? Triple Edge gives you visibility through the heaviest downpour. It whisks away snow and ice. Even mud is no match for Triple Edge. State troopers, ambulances, and taxicabs are switching to Triple Edge. Shouldn't you? It's the greatest windshield wiper ever made. No noise, no streaking, no smearing, no tearing. Triple Edge installs in seconds on any car, van, or truck, foreign or domestic. They're only $19.95 a pair, custom fit for your make and model. Remember, Triple Edge wipers are guaranteed for as long as you own your car. They're not sold in stores, so order now. They're the last windshield wipers you'll ever buy.
Call toll-free 1-800-453-5000. That's 1-800-453-5000. Or send $19.95 plus $4.50 shipping and handling to Triple Edge Wipers, 2 Morgan Avenue, Norwalk, Connecticut. Please include your car or car's make, model, and year for correct sizing. Use your credit card and call now 1-800-453-5000.
Welcome back to Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course at IMSA's GTO GTU and American Challenge Sedans, Round 6 of the 1990 season. You're looking at our leader, the number 1 Mazda of defending GTO champion Pete Halsmer from Anaheim, California. Good example of today's driver-engineer, a graduate of Purdue University, a man who flies his own plane to the racetracks. Pete won his title in Ford and Lincoln Mercury products before switching over this year to Mazda's new GTO effort. We asked him how it's going.
I've been really pleased to see how the new team has come along. The RX-7 has just performed really well for a new car and a new effort this year, and it makes us have high hopes for the rest of the season. But we have to remember that it's a new operation as well. But I'm really pleased so far.
You know, success is, this might be a new team for Pete Halsmer and certainly this GTO effort for Mazda, but success is no stranger to Jim Downing, who has been successful with Mazda for years, all the way back to the RS days, the small sedan category with the RX-3s.
Jim Downing, of course, the team owner, as Pete Halsmer passes another Mazda. That's the GTU machine of Paul Lewis. Boys, he's had a weekend. He burned his car to the ground yesterday. Managed to get back out today. Jim Downing, of course, the 3-time champion in IMSA's Camel Lights class of Camel GT racing. He couldn't have found a better guy to head up the new GTO effort than Pete Halsmer. A little smoke there on the backside. Somebody must have locked him up coming down here into the carousel.
Well, that's an easy place to lock him up because you're kind of going downhill into a right-hander, so you have a tendency to lock that right rear tire going in there. Yeah, I don't think they could have found a better driver. I mean, Pete Halsmer is extremely competent.
Swinging out behind there, the red and white Mercury Cougar, that is Dorsey Schrader, who has been in second place in this race virtually from the start. He has been hounding Pete Halsmer on and off. Right now, it looks like he's about to pull back up on the Mazda's bumper. A little bit of blue smoke there from the Mazda.
Yeah, I don't think that's out of the engine. I think that's just a little wheel spin.
Down the backstretch they go, and Whistler, a great sponsor. As you see more smoke from the Mazda, Whistler radar detectors, the sponsor on those Lincoln Mercury cars, and right now Dorsey Schrader is whistling around the circuit. Back in the All-American Challenge race, Clay Young continues to lead in the number 10 orange Chevrolet Beretta, running Firestone tires on this car. We have Goodyear, Yokohama, and Toyo all represented out here today. Great mechanical combinations in GTO racing. Oh, and now Glenn Smith in the number 42 car pulling it off. Looks like he's done for the day.
Yeah, they'll probably roll him out and roll him back into that little section and get him out of the way. This won't, I doubt if this will bring out any kind of yellow.
And so it won't stem the tide of Mr. Mazda, Pete Halsmer, who has led from the beginning. And look at the interval now back to the second place car. There goes lap traffic. And here comes Dorsey Schrader. So all of a sudden that Cougar appears to be losing ground, Jack.
Yeah, this is where the weight makes the big difference. Late in the late in this first round, pit stops are coming up and the tires are worn much greater on the Cougar. So it's hard for him to run the pace that Pete's running.
So we can expect to see a pit stop pretty shortly, I would guess, from the Cougar as Pete Halsmer closes in now on the American Challenge class leader, Clay Young, and disposes of him easily on the backstretch. Whoa, you saw the car get a little wide there, the red number 6 of Dorsey Schrader, so I guess he really is having tire problems, Jack.
Yeah, he's, like I said, the weight of the car and the tires are worn down. You can only ask the tires to do so much. So, Dorsey's doing all he can. Dorsey would love to see a caution right now.
Sparks fly from the bodywork, dragging on the ground on that Cougar. And we've got the first of the pit stops. This is the Ferrari. Here's Marty.
Well, Olivier Griard brings the Ferrari to a stop, and the crew goes to work feverishly as Griard unstraps and is coming out the right side, but can't get the door off. Now he is having a heck of a time. Finally gets an assist from the man who is working on the right front tire, and seems to have some question as to whether their driver change is going to be made. In fact, there is some confusion here. The fuel is done. The tires are still working. But Jaboué, Jean-Pierre, is still putting on gloves. His suit isn't on. He has yet to get strapped in. This is going to be a costly error for the Ferrari team as they get caught short, not ready for the driver change.
Well, when you only run a couple of races a year, I guess this sort of thing can happen, and there's a problem. And one thing you note about that car as we pick up action on the racetrack, this is Robbie Gordon, the Ferrari had doors that open. If it were a drag car, they'd call it a door slammer. Most of these GTO cars don't even have doors. It's one-piece bodywork, and the drivers climb through the windows. So Ferrari's problems continue. They were in 4th place. They're now out. Robbie Gordon come back from that early spin, running 7th right now.
We've always made jokes about Italian pit stops, and I think we just saw one.
Well, it's certainly not to the standards of Ferrari's Formula One effort, but they're still at it. We'll let you know when they're done. Meanwhile, on the racetrack, here's the number 75 Nissan of Steve Millen, who was passed by that Ferrari for 3rd place. He's taken that position back, but we're receiving word, Jack, that he's got a problem with his car now. He's losing turbo boost, the throttle mechanism not working right on this car.
Yeah, I spoke about that a little bit earlier. I suspected that there was a problem with the car.
Here's the 2nd place car of Dorsey Schrader.
Jack Roush's crew goes to work. 4 tire change. This will be the only stop that they'll need to make on this car. And the question is, since there'll be no driver change like there was in the Ferrari, there won't be the confusion. 4 tires, as we said. They are now finished except for the right front. Fuel still going in. That appears to be now finished. The right rear is finished. They're spraying the windshield. Cleaning that off, bringing him down, and he is underway.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the nice things about turbocharged race cars is they certainly are quiet in the pits. If that had been, say, a 6-liter V8, we wouldn't have been able to hear ourselves.
Boy, this is it now. Dorsey's got his tires, he's got his fuel, it's over, he's going to the front. I mean, he's on kill right now.
Now this is for, I believe, 4th place in the race due to all the pit stops. There'll be some juggling. There goes David Loring, who was leading the GTU class. Jeremy Dale being pressed hard by Elliott Forbes Robinson. Here's Loring to the right in the GTU Nissan. Here comes the twin-turbo car. Now David could give his GTO teammates a break if he would just get out of the way here and let Jeremy Dale come through in the red, white, and blue car. Now he does. And here comes Elliott Forbes Robinson, though, right behind him in that number 63 Mazda. And the GTU leader is in the pits.
There's trouble in the 00 as they have got the nose off of this machine, trying feverishly to get it put back together. Don Knowles sitting in the cockpit, not sure if he's going to make it back into the race, as it looks as though some kind of line has broken up underneath, and it doesn't look as though the day is going to be successful for Don Knowles and the Dodge.
Well, it's not totally unsuccessful. With Knowles dropping out of the race, the lead now passes to his Dodge teammate, Stu Hayner, running the 07 machine. It's virtually identical to this one, and there is Stu Hayner right now being chased by our overall race leader, the Mazda of Pete Halsmer.
And he's going to be very careful about letting Pete get by. He wants to just let him go on and run his own race.
Stu Hayner in the 07 Dodge, a great story. He was not a part of this Dodge team early in the season, but he used to drive street stocks, as Jack mentioned earlier, with Don Knowles, and at Knowles' suggestion, he was brought into this team. Now let's go to the pits now, where Marty is standing by with Don.
Don, I know this is not the way you wanted to meet. It was supposed to be in Victory Lane. What happened?
You're right. I wanted the Dodge team to be in first, but I didn't mean in first out of the race first. We're not sure exactly what happened. The water temp got up pretty high. This little production-based engine is working pretty hard to stay out in front of those V6s, but that's okay. We've got another race in 3 weeks. We'll come back strong.
Crew chief Scott Gilton said it might have been a cracked cylinder head.
10-4, you know, I don't know much more about race cars than sort of turn right, turn left, go and stop, so I rely on our full-time racing team. They're really good, and sorry to see it happen like this.
Better luck next time.
Oh, we'll get them next race. Thank you very much.
Well, it's certainly interesting that Don says he doesn't know anything about race cars as we superimpose his picture over the Pete Halsmer's car. Halsmer is an automotive engineer who knows everything there is to know about race cars, and he's leading the event right now.
You know, Don Knowles, a real gentleman. He actually built a reputation as a front-wheel drive specialist.
And doing well today until he dropped out. Pete Halsmer is your leader overall. We'll be right back.
Introducing the last word in bodybuilding from the first name in weight training. This is Lee Haney, 6-time and reigning Mr. Olympia, and now his renowned 3-day workout is on video cassette. This is the most comprehensive weight training program ever offered. Totally unique, totally different. The Lee Haney workout shows you the secret of building body tone and muscle, increasing strength, and attaining the attitude of a winner. But this isn't just another weightlifting video. Lee will show you how to get the most out of your body, no matter what shape it's in now, and without the pain and strain that's been holding you back. You'll discover how to meld your mind and muscle into fine-tuned partners in performance. The Lee Haney workout is only $39.95 plus $4 shipping and handling. Call toll-free 1-800-841-0300. The Lee Haney workout is not available in stores. Call now, 1-800-841-0300, and start working out with Mr. Olympia.
Sit. Fight.
Why does one person excel above all others? Is it motivation? Raw talent? Desire? Is it personal satisfaction? Intelligence? Luck? There's no magic formula, and there's really no secret. But there is Soloflex. Because Soloflex is designed and engineered with one thing in mind: your body's needs. And we've created the finest, most complete, and simplest system to attain those needs. With Soloflex, the reward is yours. For a free brochure, call anytime.
Welcome back to the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course for IMSA GTO GTU Championship sedan racing action. You're watching the 07 Dodge of Stu Hayner, who has taken over the lead from his teammate Don Knowles, who dropped out of the race. And should he pull it out, Stu Hayner will pick up his first victory of the 1990 season. Now, here is the 76 Nissan GTO car of Jeremy Dale in the pits, and we'll watch the Clayton Cunningham crew go to work. Dale had a problem early, spun on the racetrack, had some room to make up, has been doing fairly well in this V6 twin-turbo machine. Looks like a little problem there at the left front corner.
Yeah, you can't get the gun off.
Oh,
You can't pull it off, you kick it off. It's got to come off one way or the other.
So that'll cost extra seconds as Jeremy Dale makes his way back onto the racetrack. Tough break for the Nissan team.
You know, Jeremy used to drive. Last year he was driving for Dodge and moved over from Dodge in the GTU cars and into Nissan. It was a nice opportunity for Jeremy.
Won 4 races, as I recall. There goes your GTU leader, Stu Haney. You saw the overall leader go out. Here comes Jeremy Dale back on the racetrack, but he lost a lot of time. He has been lapped by your leader, Pete Halsmer. And there is the man himself, and he's headed for the pits.
Boy, this pit stop under green is going to have to be short and sweet. I doubt seriously if he's going to change tires.
Well, we're going to find out now what the strategy is for Pete Halsmer and the Mazda. He nails the marks, and they are putting fuel in. They're checking underneath. They're looking at the tread all the way around, and it looks as though they will not make any changes. One man is back over the wall, but no lug wrenches, no nothing. This is going to be an extremely quick stop because fuel is now done. They have timed it out for the finish of this race.
And my guess is, Jack, that they just calculated the amount of fuel they need. I bet they didn't even fill that tank.
Absolutely. They want to maintain the lead. You know, they went into the pits with about a 47-second lead. That pit stop was around 14 seconds, so they're out with a nice lead. And now it's Dorsey's responsibility to run them down. So basically the ball's in Dorsey's court. What would hurt him right now real bad is if there was a caution.
Of course, a full course caution would allow the rest of the field to close up on your leader, Pete Halsmer. And it would undo great driving by Halsmer and great work by the Downing crew in the pits. Your overall leader, Halsmer's gone. There is the 07 car of your GTU class leader, Stu Haney. Great race. Now here is Halsmer's teammate, Elliott Forbes Robinson. Here's Marty.
Now the 63 Mazda pulls in after the number 1 has already been serviced. Same routine. They will not change tires. They're looking at him closely, but they will give him just enough gas here on lap number 45. That means there's about 19 laps to go. What an advantage this would be as they're timing it with the stopwatch. And oh no, he kills the motor. The motor stalls and he can't seem to get it refired. Now the team's trying to push it. Elliott Forbes Robinson cannot get the Mazda to fire, and now the great strategy may have just backfired as the clock continues to roll.
And with a push, he gets it started again. But when you've got a hot motor, it's tough to get it refired in the pits. And you're absolutely right, Marty. I think all of the advantage gained by not changing tires was lost right there.
Yeah, anytime an engine stalls in the pits, I mean, it costs you time. And you notice when they checked the tires. A man went down there and he checked the left side tires. The left side tires are the tires that take the abuse here. So if the left side's fine, the right side's good too. So there's no problem.
A lot of right-hand corners here at Mid-Ohio, which put much of that car weight on the left side tires. Boy, what a victory this could be for Stu Haney, who was not a part of this team until just before the season began at Daytona, where he was added as a third driver for that 24-hour event. He later replaced Mike Davies in the 07 car, and he's really given it a ride. Now here is your leader, Pete Halsmer. His gap now down to about 10 seconds because behind him on fresh tires, Dorsey Schrader in the turbocharged Cougar is absolutely flying. We'll look for the interval. We may be able to pick him up. Yep, there he comes. Schrader has really got the bit between his teeth, Jack.
I'll tell you, Dorsey can see him, and I'm telling you, late in the race like this, this is it. No more stops. Dorsey can see him. He wants him. He's going, and they're telling him on the radio, go get him, go get him, go get him.
And Halsmer has to know he's coming. That 4-rotor Mazda, lighter in weight, easier on its tires, but he is also perhaps 150 horsepower down to that turbocharged Cougar.
I would think that Dorsey should be able to run him down. I really do. He's got to be clicking off seconds per lap.
Spin at the top of the hill. One of the Cougars gone around. That's a privateer entry. That is Jim Stevens with a big V8 under the hood of that lime green Cougar XR7. It's not the same car as Dorsey Schrader and Robbie Gordon are driving. Big 6-liter V8 under the hood. There's a look at him. He's got the car straight again. Boy, that could have been a problem if he had pulled on right out in front of his Ersatz Roush teammate, Dorsey Schrader, who needs every second he has left. And here's the tag. That was Robbie Gordon got together with Bob Leitzinger, the defending GTU champion in the number 95 Nissan 240. Tough break for Bob, and it's been a rough season as he tries to defend his championship. He crashed hard at Daytona. He crashed hard at Miami. The man from State College, PA, who runs this team for the Nissan factory. Close moment there. Let's take another look. That is Robbie Gordon's Cougar, and they just slid into one another.
Robbie just put a fender on him. Yeah, going into the keyhole like that, side by side, the man on the outside's in a vulnerable spot, and certainly Gordon probably didn't mean to, but got into Bob a little bit and
turned him on around. There you see the damage on the right side of the car, but it looks like Leitzinger will continue.
It probably didn't hurt his handling any. It just set him back, cost him some seconds.
Pete Halsmer, your leader, and we'll be back.
Do you need a car? Listen, each year government agencies auction, sell, and liquidate thousands of cars and trucks, and the bidding starts as low as $30. Government vehicles, luxury cars taken from drug dealers, criminals, and thousands more seized, repossessed, sold through bankruptcy proceedings. Now find out how you can grab the car you want at government liquidation and bankruptcy prices. Bid as low as $30 for Porsches, Mercedes, Ferraris, Corvettes, family cars, and trucks. Find out how to get the car you want now. Call 1-900-HOT-AUTO. That's 1-900-468-2886. Just $2 a minute.
Time of your life, all the greats will be there. It's stadium hot dogs, it's the dream we all share. It's a good time. Sports Channel Ohio, home of your home team, Cleveland Indians. So drop what you're doing, tune into and leave your cares behind. It's a major league good time.
Ohio, where the seconds are running down. Pete Halsmer holds the lead, but not far behind is Dorsey Schrader closing in. It's a Mazda over a Lincoln Mercury turbocharged Cougar, and we are going to have a great finish here at Mid-Ohio. Halsmer has led. He took the pole at record speed on this newly reconfigured Mid-Ohio race course. Looking to the back of your picture, we hope to see Dorsey Schrader. Now, I don't see Schrader coming into the picture. I think he's lost some ground, Jack.
Yeah, he has lost some ground. Something mechanical has happened to that car. You know, it's hard to speculate what it might be, but there's an obvious problem because he would be much, much closer.
In fact, Dorsey Schrader got within 3 seconds of the leading Mazda, Pete Halsmer, but now we get word from the pits that he has lost second gear in that car. Tough break for Schrader. Meanwhile, here comes the Ferrari, number 40 on the left of your screen, going underneath Jeremy Dale in the number 76 Nissan. All of a sudden, Jean-Pierre Jabouille, who got into that car after a 74-second pit stop for these guys, in part because Jabouille wasn't ready to get in the car. He is flying, and he has taken over third place. He'll go looking for second, and now they're going to go 3 wide. Ooh, Robbie Gordon coming up hard behind that number 76 car of Jeremy Dale. Great racing here for position late in the going here at Mid-Ohio.
Well, you got to give those guys in the Ferrari credit. They have done a great job today, even with the setback in the pit stop. Look at the position that they're in right now.
And look how quickly they open up ground on the Nissan and the Cougar. This is the battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th. The Ferrari is 4th, running 5th is the Nissan, and in 6th is Robbie Gordon.
You know, both Gordon and Dale had their problems early in the race, and now they're running against each other for position. So this could get pretty exciting.
And Dale closes up on the Ferrari as Jean-Pierre Jabouille, the Formula One veteran from France. In fact, the man who won the first Formula One victory for a turbocharged race car in a Renault at Dijon, France, back in 1978-79, doing battle with 2 of the young lions in IMSA sedan racing. Turbocharged race cars, all of them.
It's just impressive how fast that Ferrari goes once it gets rolling off the corner. I mean, it comes up and just takes right off.
A twin turbocharged 3-liter V8, the Ferrari, followed by the twin turbocharged V6, the Nissan, and the single turbo straight 4, the Cougar. Reaching speeds about 165 to 170 miles an hour down his backstretch. Now Gordon looks to the inside around Jeremy Dale. Let's see if we can pick him up. And he's not going to have time.
Couldn't get him. You know, we've talked about horsepower. One of the cars that makes a tremendous amount of horsepower are these Nissans. Their technology comes from the GTP car, and they actually make more power than I think the Cougars do.
And that's about 750. You saw Robbie Gordon take another look inside. We're back now with Jean-Pierre Jabouille in the Ferrari.
And every time Robbie takes another look, the Ferrari gets farther and farther away.
He got him.
He got him.
Just off the far corner of the racetrack, Robbie Gordon got underneath Jeremy Dale. The Ferrari, number 40 right there, is 4th, followed by Robbie Gordon is now 5th. Jeremy Dale is 6th. And now Jean-Pierre Jabouille will set his sights on Steve Millen in the Nissan running in 3rd position. But right there is the 21-year-old from California, Robbie Gordon. spun off the racetrack on lap 2, got into a sand trap, powered on through it, got back onto the racetrack running in about 8th position, and then passed cars right and left, and he has really come shrieking forward. But I don't know if he's going to have the kind of speed and savvy, perhaps, to catch Jabouille.
Yeah, traffic, it's the Ferraris, because the Ferrari's in the lead, traffic is to his advantage. He'll get the brakes first, and they'll work out for him.
We're in the closing moments here at Mid-Ohio. Bob Varsha, Jack Baldwin, Marty Reed with you. There is Jeremy Dale in the number 76 Nissan. He's begun to slow a little bit.
I think he's got a power problem. You see little puffs of smoke coming out of his engine, so it tells us something.
Here comes the 07 GTU leader of Stu Hayner.
Nice and smooth. Stu's just taking the car home. He knows what his situation is, and he just wants to bring the car home.
He's got a big lead over the second-place car of Bob Leitzinger, the defending GTU champ, who slipped off the racetrack after a collision with Robbie Gordon. Here's Marty.
Well, the big difference between the GTO and GTU in today's race is that the pit crews for the U's, like the Dodge team, really doesn't have to worry about a pit stop. They have enough fuel, enough tires to go the distance. So right now, they're just watching Stu Hayner tour the track and hopefully bringing it home to victory.
Stu Hayner leads over the defending class champ Bob Leitzinger, who had a coming together with Robbie Gordon earlier. And now Robbie Gordon takes a look down the inside of Jean-Pierre Jabouille in the Ferrari, and he will take that position, move Robbie Gordon up into the 4th spot.
He did it under braking, and there's the difference in the weight. You know, you said earlier that the Ferraris are running about 200 pounds heavy, and, you know, under hard braking at the end of that back straightaway is the best shot for a lighter car to take the lead.
Well, that's a surprise to me. Robbie Gordon going right by the older man in the Ferrari. Whoa, and look, got a little sideways there, did Robbie Gordon. I wonder if maybe he's outrunning his tires. Meanwhile, up on point, Pete Halsmer in the Mazda has some breathing room now. Dorsey Schrader had gotten within 3 seconds of him before losing second gear, and right now, Pete Halsmer really has it on cruise control.
You know, one of the things to consider right now is anything can happen. I mean, a caution could go up. They could bunch this field up. I mean, it's never over until it's over.
Well, you're absolutely right, Jack. Here comes Dorsey Schrader now running without second gear, and he has closed it up again on the Mazdas. But I should point out that right behind the leader, Pete Halsmer, is his teammate, Elliott Forbes Robinson. And, Dorsey Schrader's going to have to get around EFR if he's going to get to this man, the number 1 of Halsmer. I'm wondering whether Halsmer is just, if he's got a problem or if he's just kind of letting that gap run down a little bit as the checkered flag awaits, just a lap or 2 away.
But they're being very careful. I'm sure they've got a handle on this, and the Jim Downing team is monitoring the gap and telling Pete the differential lap by lap. And Pete's probably running as slow as he can run to get to the finish line first. You only have to win by an inch.
That's right. You got a quick look there at the leaders in the other classes running today, and the final lap begins now. Halsmer getting right off the racing line there for a second. But you saw Stu Hayner and Clay Young, who are the leaders in GTU and the American Challenge Series.
See, on the final lap like this, they know that, you know, they can give away a couple of seconds, and Dorsey will still never get there. So basically, it's just bring it around and park it in victory circle.
Absolutely. That's the most important thing. Great run today for Dorsey Schrader, but unless he can make it happen right now, he's going to have problems. And you can see the gap is opened back up. There is nobody behind Pete Halsmer. He appears to have things pretty much in the bag right now. Great drive today, the combination of great driving and great pit strategy by the Mazda factory team under Jim Downing. Not stopping for tires at mid-race has enabled Pete Halsmer to keep a lead over the more powerful car of Dorsey Schrader, and it looks like he has things in hand here. Just a corner remains. Into the carousel goes Pete Halsmer, and the checkered flag awaits his second victory of 1990.
And the success story continues for Jim Downing and his entire team with another victory.
And now, here is the battle for third place. This is Steve Millen, who is having trouble in his car. He's got a throttle problem. Jean-Pierre Jabouille in the Ferrari is going to try to take third away, and he makes it happen. Great battle there. Good run for the Ferrari team as they go down the back stretch, taking away second place. As you can tell, almost a lap behind the leader. And here comes Steve Millen, going to try to take it back. This is the final lap for these cars. If Millen's going to do it, he's got to do it now. They'll go in side by side, and Millen almost throws it away and runs over, I think, a piece of debris there.
Piece of tire. Might have been his tire.
I hope not for his sake. It doesn't appear to be the case. Steve Millen holding station, but he's got very little time left. Here is Dorsey Schrader weaving back and forth.
Yeah, Dorsey's got a broken axle. That's what's happened.
Wow. Dorsey Schrader
he did a great job of bringing that car in without wrecking it with a broken axle.
After losing a gear, getting so close to victory, breaking an axle on the last lap. This is third place, still battling. The checkered flag is just around his corner. Steve Millen will take a look, but he won't be able to do it. Jean-Pierre Jabouille brings the Ferrari home third. Fourth place goes to Millen in the Nissan. And meanwhile, up front, Pete Halsmer, oblivious to the action behind him. He has scored his second straight win. We'll meet him in a moment. Our winner is in victory lane, where Marty Reed is standing by.
Well, Pete Halsmer has climbed out of the car. You made it look a little bit easier than we thought it might be at the start of the race when we were talking.
Well, I think it was harder than I thought it was going to be. I knew it was going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight, but I'll tell you, I have to talk to my designer about power steering on this thing. Hint, hint. Because that wore me out.
You decided not to change tires. Seemed like the strategy was working, but Dorsey was reeling you in, and he was within 3 seconds before he lost second gear.
Yeah. It looked like it was going to be real tough. I think we were just fortunate that happened. That's just one of the breaks of the game. I don't know where we would have been. I know it would have been hell of a battle, and he would have had fresh tires, so it might have been too tough, but I'm pleased. I think the strategy was smart, and we wanted to go ahead and do that, and it worked out.
It certainly did. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Marty. We'll give you a look at our top 10. Pete Halsmer's Mazda over the Lincoln Mercury Cougar of Dorsey Schrader, followed by the Ferrari of Gouillard and Jabouille, Steve Millen in a Nissan, and Robbie Gordon in a Cougar. Jeremy Dale, Elliott Forbes Robinson, Jim Stevens, Stu Hainer, the GTU winner, and Bob Leitzinger, the runner-up in class, follow.
Well, it took us a little bit of time to catch up to our GTU champion, but a good reason. You had just enough motor to make it to the finish line.
Well, we're not sure if the motor, we ran over something. Right coming around the last turn, we had a little bit, I heard a big thump, and I ran for, another half a lap, and I noticed the water temperature starting to go up, and they said, just keep running it. And we got it pretty warm, and I really abused it the last lap around. And we sort of got stuck in the back. But up until that, the car was absolutely perfect. The tires never went away. The Yokohamas worked absolutely perfect from beginning to end. And the car just never missed a lick. The crew, my hat's off to them. They just did such an unbelievable job. We did struggle the first couple days here, but we kept working and working and working, and it finally really came together. And during the race, the car was the best that I've ever had a car. It was just great.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And so Stu Hainer brings it home for Dodge over Bob Leitzinger, Lance Stewart, Amos Johnson, and Helmut Silberberger. The top four cars all running nose to tail. In the American Challenge, Clay Young, a winner from start to finish over Dale Kreider and Kenny Irwin. That's the story from Mid-Ohio. For Marty Reed and Jack Baldwin, I'm Bob Varsha. There are your winners in GTO. So long.